Imagine this. You're standing at the gate, boarding pass in hand, vacation booked, bags packed, and the agent says, your bag doesn't qualify, that'll be $125. Or worse, we gave your seat away. It sounds extreme, but these aren't rare travel horror stories anymore. Airlines have quietly changed rules over the last few years, and most travelers don't realize it until they're already stuck at the airport, paying for it. You think you know how flying works. You've done it before. You showed up, checked in, grabbed your boarding pass, and made it to your seat. Easy. But here's the thing most travelers never realize until it's too late. Airlines have been quietly changing their rules, and some of these changes will absolutely blindside you at the worst possible moment. We're talking gate denials, unexpected fees that drain your wallet before you even board, and policies so counterintuitive they almost seem designed to trip you up. Today I'm walking you through the airline rule surprises that catch even experienced travelers completely off guard. Stick with me because the last few on this list are the ones almost nobody talks about, and they could save you hundreds of dollars on your next trip. Today I'm walking you through the airline rule surprises that are costing people hundreds of dollars, even experienced travelers. And the last one? Almost nobody talks about it, but it could be worth up to 4 times your ticket price. Let's get into it. 1. The third-party booking trap. Let's start with something that feels smart, but can backfire fast. Booking through third-party apps. Expedia, Kayak, online travel sites that promise the best deal. Sometimes they deliver, until something goes wrong. Here's what most people don't realize. If your flight is canceled, delayed, or changed, the airline may tell you, you need to contact the agency you booked with. Suddenly you're stuck between two companies, each pointing at the other. Meanwhile, hundreds of passengers are flooding customer service lines. When you book directly with the airline, you are their customer. When you book third party, you're often the middleman's problem. If the price difference is small, book direct. The smoother customer support alone can be worth it. 2. The carry-on crackdown. Now let's talk about something happening at gates everywhere. Carry-on enforcement has gotten aggressive. Airlines are placing bag sizers directly at the gate. If your bag doesn't fit, even slightly, you're paying on the spot. And here's the painful part. Gate fees are often significantly higher than prepaid checked bag fees online. Same bag, higher price, and every airline's dimensions are slightly different. Just because your bag worked on one carrier last year doesn't mean it works today. Before packing, check your airline's exact measurements. 2 minutes of checking can save you triple-digit fees. 3. The basic economy illusion. This one catches millions of people. You're booking your flight. You see the lowest price. It looks like a deal. But basic economy often means no seat selection, no carry-on, no changes, no cancellations, no credit if your plans shift. If something unexpected happens, you don't get flexibility. You lose the ticket. Sometimes paying $40 more upfront saves you hundreds later. Always click the fare details before confirming. If flexibility matters at all, basic economy can be a very expensive deal. 4. Your seat is not guaranteed. Here's a rule that shocks people. Even if you paid for your seat, it's not fully guaranteed. Aircraft swaps happen all the time due to maintenance or logistics. Different plane, different layout. Your aisle seat can become a middle seat, and airlines are technically allowed to make that change. Want to reduce the risk? Check in the moment online check-in opens, usually 24 hours before departure. Confirm your seat immediately. The earlier you catch a change, the more options you have. 5. The 24-hour cancellation rule with fine print. Most people know about the 24-hour cancellation policy in the US, but few understand the conditions. Yes, you can cancel within 24 hours for a full refund, but only if the flight is at least 7 days away and you book directly with the airline. If you booked through a third-party site, their policy may override your experience. And if your trip is within 7 days, that federal protection doesn't apply. Understanding those two conditions alone can prevent a painful surprise. 6. Tight connections can cost you everything. Here's where things start getting expensive. You find a cheaper itinerary, it has a 55-minute layover, looks doable. But if your first flight is delayed and you booked separate tickets to save money, you're on your own. The second airline does not have to help you. You may need to buy a brand new ticket. However, if both flights are on one ticket, the airline must rebook you to your final destination. That small price difference between one ticket and two, it can mean the difference between protection and panic. 7. Getting bumped and what they owe you. Now let's talk about the rule most travelers never fully understand. Airlines overbook flights intentionally. They expect some passengers not to show up, but when everyone shows up, someone gets bumped. If you volunteer, you negotiate. But if you are involuntarily denied boarding in the U.S., depending on the delay length, you could be legally entitled to compensation of up to 400% of your one-way fare. 4 times your ticket price? The problem? Airlines don't always advertise that clearly in the moment. If this ever happens to you, ask directly, what compensation am I entitled to under involuntary denied boarding rules? That question alone can change the outcome dramatically. 8. The loyalty expiration surprise. One last trap that quietly wipes out value. Miles expiration. Many airline loyalty programs require activity every 12 to 24 months. Not just membership, activity. If you don't earn or redeem within that window, your balance can reset to zero. One small purchase through a partner can reset the clock. Set a reminder every 6 months to check your accounts. It takes minutes and protects miles you already earned. Here's the truth. Airlines aren't trying to trick you, but they are businesses with detailed policies buried in fine print. Most travel frustration doesn't come from bad luck. It comes from not knowing the rules before you need them. Here's the underlying reality of all of this. Airlines are sophisticated businesses operating with very detailed terms and conditions that most passengers never read. That information gap is where these surprises live. Every time you feel blindsided at an airport, it's almost always because the rule existed. It just wasn't presented in an obvious way. The good news is that awareness is most of the battle. You don't need to memorize every airline policy on Earth. You just need to pause before booking and ask a few key questions. What does this fare actually include? What happens if the flight changes? Are these tickets connected or separate? Am I protected if something goes wrong? The travelers who never get caught off guard aren't lucky. They're just informed. Because finding out about these surprises at the airport is one of the most expensive ways to learn. And in the next video, I'm going to show you exactly what to say at the gate when things go sideways, including the one sentence that can legally increase your compensation. You don't want to miss that. Like, subscribe, share. See you there.